go out to Lauren in Washington, D.C. What's up, Lauren?
Hey, Dr. John. How are you?
Good. How are you doing? Thanks for dealing with our technical issues. How are we doing?
I'm doing okay. I was calling today because I'm diagnosed with bipolar disorder and have had a lot of issues running up credit cards in the past during manic episodes. But the past 2 years, I've been episode free, was able to pay off all the debt, and I'm on baby steps 4, 5, and 6 now, but there's still this undercurrent of anxiety that I'm going to do that again in the future and ruin my finances again. So I'm wondering what advice you may have about that.
Yeah, you bet. Let's, number one, like before we even dig in, what you just said, I hope you know this. It's incredible what you just said. It's incredible. It's very rare for me to talk to somebody on the phone like this. They call into the show, who write into the show that they've been diagnosed with bipolar. They're living with it, and then they go on to pay off all their debt, and for years. That's amazing. It's really, really incredible. It's a testament to how hard you're working on all this. Bipolar 1 or 2?
2.
2. So. Tell me about not the manic phases. Tell me about the dark phases.
Well, I've had a suicide attempt in the past, and usually when I'm having depression, it can get sometimes when it's really bad, difficult for me to function at work, and difficult for me to get out the house and do the things I normally like to do, like hang out with friends, and just normal activities that I would usually find fun are draining.
Yeah. So for everybody listening, bipolar can be bipolar 1 or bipolar 2. Bipolar 2 is generally noted as hypomanic, meaning the mania stage, the parts when everything spins up, may not be quite as high as bipolar 1, but it's often partnered with a deeper or a more sinister, if you will, depressive episode. And when people who don't experience depression, Lauren, hear phrases like depressive episode, it just is like, whatever. Can you paint a picture of waking up when you're in the black hole? If you think back to those times, are you on meds now?
I am medicated, but very minimally, like much less than what most people with my diagnosis are medicated with.
I want to applaud you for that too. One of the biggest challenges of loving and caring and walking alongside folks who struggle with bipolar is that when they feel well, they feel amazing, and they slowly will stop taking their meds, or they'll completely stop taking them, and then they end up right back where they were. And so for you, high five. High five. I mean, you're just like rock star in this thing. Think back to some times before you had everything leveled out. Give us a description of what it feels like to open your eyes in those mornings.
Wow. Well, I'll wake up, and usually the first thing that I'll think of is just that I wish I could go back to sleep. I don't want to do this. Just very low energy. Even if I drink coffee, it just feels like my body is heavier than it usually is. Hard to talk to people. I'm usually more fun to be around, and people enjoy hanging out with me. And I can usually tell when I'm in those depressive spaces that people aren't enjoying my presence as much.
I've heard it described as feeling like you're trapped inside of a pillow or trapped underwater, and people are trying to talk to you, and everything's a little bit fuzzy. It's just exhausting, and I just would rather not be trying to listen to what you're saying and hear what you're saying and interact with you. The lights feel like they're too bright. Like everything just feels like too much. And yeah, it's that you used a word I've heard often, heavy. It's just like everything feels like I'm just full of sand, right?
Yeah.
And you have worked your butt off to be where you are right now. It's incredible. So tell me about this anxiety that's haunting you.
Well, even though I'm doing pretty good, I think the mania is more what I'm scared of, because the depression I've become accustomed to. The mania I really felt outside of myself and acted in ways that I never act when I'm in my normal state of mind. So even though I have, a good emergency fund, if I get too excited about something, or sometimes it gets to like any sort of happy emotion, there'll be a thought that comes in later, like, oh, well, is this mania? Are you about to have another episode? Are you going to spend all your money again and
so
end up in these horrible situations?
You're scanning the environment all the time because you've lost trust in your body. And you're wondering when, are we going? No. That was just too much caffeine. Or, here we go. Oh, no, that was just because I was annoyed. And so it's hard to decipher what are, and I hate to use this kind of language, but we just got a short time together, normal feelings, right? Of anger, frustration, excitement, or I'm really jazzed up, versus, oh no, my body's spinning up and we're going to spend 3 or 4 days or a week or 2 weeks just running and gunning, right? And so you live in this kind of tension. You don't want to, do you find yourself de-escalating things on purpose to try to keep your body from...
What do you mean by that?
If you feel really excited about something and then all of a sudden you're talking really fast and your friends are laughing really hard and it's euphoric, right? It feels awesome. And you're going and going. Yeah. Do you find yourself trying to throttle it back because you're scared of your own body?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
And then you end up, right? like,
yeah.
Yeah, you end up duct taping over like normal life experiences, which are awesome. And there's nothing better than being around a bunch of friends and y'all are all hanging out and everyone starts laughing so hard, milk's coming out your eyeballs and your nose and everything. It's frustrating. Yeah. All right, so the good news is you are a unique yet rock star example of somebody who's fought through hell and back, who's working with a medical professional, who's doing what you got to do even when you don't feel like it, and who is working hard to be in tune with your own body. That sets you apart, and I need you to hear me say I'm so proud of you. It's amazing. Okay? What that tells me is you have at least turned the corner on, I'm trying to live with Lauren. I'm not going to war with her anymore. Is that fair?
Yes.
That tells me you love Lauren, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good to hear.
It's all. I mean, I just want you to drop your shoulders. It's really incredible. And I also know it's frustrating because you're like, I don't like to feel like this all the time, though. And if you're telling me I'm doing great and this is great, I don't like that. I want you to lean on it, okay? It's amazing. Second thing is, here's the not good news. It's going to take time to learn to continue to trust your body. It's just a process of trust, and then you're going to have mishaps. There's going to be times when your body spins out on you again. And you're going to have to learn to be really graceful with yourself. And then here's the important part. You're going to have to build really strong boundaries. What does that look like? I don't have bipolar 2. There has been seasons when I gave up my debit cards to my wife. I got rid of my Amazon login because I was out of control. And I could talk to myself all day long, like, all right, dude, we're just going to... And I just would buy everything. And I would buy stupid, like I would pick up the tab for people I didn't even know. I'd be like, I'm buying that guy's lunch. Like it just gets out of... It's almost out of body, right? It doesn't make any sense. And I don't have bipolar 2. I'm not dealing with... You're talking, you're on jet fuel here. So I literally had to give stuff away. Sometimes it was for a month or two. Like I had to just create some significant space. Here's the word I want you to think of: hurdles. What are some ways I can put hurdles between me and these behaviors that I know are going to cause me problems? If you had in manic phases, if you had a lot of sexual acting out, which is a common thing in both 1 and 2, I might tell you I want you to delete all of the phone numbers in your cell phone of folks you have hooked up with before. Just delete all of them. And at least make it hard for yourself to have to, you'd have to go through a bunch of hoops to track it down. And my hope is at some point you have enough cognition to go, or at least I'm going to reach out to somebody and say, hey, I'm trying to do what I can to find people. So if you struggled with binge eating, I would tell you get all the junk out of the house, right? So I want you to create a whole bunch of hurdles between you and yourself. And it may be as much as calling the bank and saying, I can only spend this much at a time unless I call you specifically. Will that be a pain on a day-to-day basis? Yeah. But will that keep you from waking up one weekend and realizing you just drained all your savings? Yeah, that'd be awesome too. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I like the idea of hurdles.
Okay.
Putting barriers in place to protect.
Give me an example of one that you think you could put in your life right now.
I think I can call my parents and have them have access to my bank information. I have that relationship. I can do that with my dad. He would be a good barrier to put in place.
I think it'd be pretty amazing if you sat down with your dad. How old are you, Lauren?
29.
29. Dude, you're so amazing. I think it would be great if you sat down with your dad and said, Dad, I'm about to be 30. I'm entering into a new phase of adulthood, and I'm creating boundaries in my life because this is right. I'm going to live with this forever, and I'm continuing to get healthier and healthier. But I want some accountability. That's the magic word. Would you be my accountability person when it came to money? And if you have a trusting relationship like that with him, that would be incredible, Lauren. Be amazing. And you also have a job to do, and that is to find one or two friends in your life that you could develop that friendship and cultivate that relationship with them over time, that they could be that person for you. Because your dad won't always be there. And I've got a couple of buddies. My buddy Craig, my buddy Todd, my buddy John. Like, those guys are close friends. My buddy Kevin. Like, I ask them money questions. I trust them with all I have. And if I'm getting out of control or being ridiculous, those are guys that will step in and be like, whoa, what are you doing? What are you doing? And so they don't all have access to my checking account, of course. But I do allow them to hold me accountable on these things. So I think and maybe your dad, you know what? Your dad would probably give you some great perspective too. Probably provide some great insights into, if you said, Dad, I'd love some accountability. If he said, hey, the bank has this mechanism that if you need to spend more than $1,500 at a given time or more than $500 at a given time, it requires a second person or a text message and an authorization code or something. Put in some barriers for yourself. And I want you to know this, just because you have bipolar 2, that doesn't mean you're insane. Everybody I know who is successful has barriers and boundaries and accountability in their life. I don't know anybody who runs reckless. You were talking about the baby steps. That's inside baseball lingo for folks who are trying to get out of debt and following the great Dave Ramsey's plan. Dave still runs expenses by his wife. They hold each other accountable. And, hey, I want to buy this. We're not buying that. I want to buy that. We're not buying that. They still hold each other accountable. Still has that. Guy's got more money than he's beyond comprehension, but he still has accountability in his life. I still have Lane Norton and Sal DiStefano, and I still got Jordan Syatt. I got these guys in my life that I talk to about nutrition and talk to about working out. I need boundaries. I got to get some help. I got to get some wisdom. I got to get some insight. I got to put some things in my house. I can't have gummy candy in the house because I'll eat all of it all the time. So I just don't have it in there. That's not a function of bipolar 1 or 2. That's a function of being a disciplined person and knowing yourself well enough to know what level of discipline and accountability and hurdles in my life do I need to be successful. The goal isn't to become so hardcore, I don't need hurdles. I think that's a waste of time and energy. It's to know which hurdles do I need and where do I need them and what areas of my life and who can I rely on to hold me accountable in those seasons. That to me, that is a cornerstone of a well-lived life. That's why you hear me always talking about connection. You got to make friends. That's why. You got to have people in your life that call you out. And for those of us who struggle with making friends sometimes, and that might be a counselor, might be a minister, that might be a mentor where you work, but get people in your life. Lauren, I need to say it one more time. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. You give light and hope to everybody struggling with bipolar. Like, okay, I can get on a medication routine. I can take care of my body. I can get some people in my life. I can start making some decisions. I can pay off my debts. I can make amends and have a relationship with my dad, with my family. Amazing. Amazing. I'm so proud of you, Lauren. You call anytime. I'm here for you. Thanks, everybody. We'll be right back.